Miami Day 4. The day started with drones and beaches and ended with a trip to a police precinct, but I was fortunate to make it back safely from MIA to ATL. Hi, I'm Natasha, and this is Street Life. It was shorter than the other days because I was returning home on this day. I'd been out until I think I got back to the hotel like maybe after 3 in the morning that Saturday. I packed my stuff, got a few hours of sleep, and then got my stuff together to head on out because I did have to check out. Sleep deprived, a few different things that I wanted to do before leaving the city, so it ended up being a jam-packed day. Checked out of my hotel, headed over to the beach. I did have some struggles finding parking. Fortunately, I wasn't able to get free parking or even metered parking right next to the entrance to the beach. I had to drive a little bit of a distance away, so it was like maybe a 5-10-ish minute walk to the beach, but not too bad. My first order of business was that I had taken the time a day or two before to actually get my drone permit, but because it was late that night, I did go out onto Ocean Drive, but like the beach was closed at that time, so I didn't get a chance to use my drone then. And the Friday night, I went to the fight and didn't have a chance to use it then either. So here it was, the Saturday morning. I'm leaving that day. It's my last opportunity to go to the beach, get a feel for it, because I think prior to this, I had only had it for a few weeks and had only flown it a few times. So it was still kind of new for me. I was like, okay, I'm going to get out there. I want to get some really great footage. And so that's what I did. Headed over to the beach. I had my DSLR camera. I had my cell phone. Usually I have like a third phone, which is like my old cell phone that I use as my drone controller. But I'd forgotten that at home. It's one of my main things when I go on vacation is that I really like taking pictures. I really like shooting videos. So your mileage might vary. Other people go to the beach and they want to lay out. They might want to swim. And maybe with a little bit more time, I would have done that. But I was perfectly happy and content to spend an hour playing around with my camera, taking pictures of Ocean Drive, flying my drone around and getting some footage there, shooting video with my regular DSLR camera. So I felt it was a nice way to spend the late morning / early afternoon. So I ended up really enjoying myself. I actually ended up having a pretty good time. It was a nice way to spend the day. Like as a kid, I played with like RC cars with my uncle, but I hadn't played with any planes or anything like that. So this was my first time, and it was nice to get out there. The weather was sweltering. I'm not actually a fan of warm weather, so I wasn't a big fan of that. But fortunately, it was a nice clear day. I was just dripping puddles of sweat. But braved it for a bit, and it ended up being a nice way to spend about an hour or so. There was another museum that I really wanted to see.
Today I am here in Miami in the historic Overtown at the Black Police Precinct and Courthouse Museum. It's interesting. It reminds me of a book that I read about the first Black police officer in New York City, who started out patrolling what were then Black and or minority neighborhoods in New York City. But to come here to be in what's also a historically Black neighborhood and to come to this museum, which was like the police precinct in the Black neighborhood along with the courthouse, where basically this is where the justice system functioned within Overtown. And at the time, because of segregation, that they were held separately from the regular Miami Police Department. And so to come in to see the various artifacts and photos and placards and things like that, and kind of get a history of not just the neighborhood, but the justice system and how the two work together was very interesting. Unfortunately, because of time constraints on my part, due to just being in town for a few days and things not necessarily going according to plan, I came here and I was a bit pressed for time, so we did just a very quick walkthrough. But the guide that I had, who was really great, his name is Larry, He explained that you actually have some retired and also active police officers who also lead tours. And because they've actually walked in those shoes, they can give you personal insights. They can tell you stories about their experiences, things that they've been through, other people have been through, being a police officer in Miami, but particularly in Overtown for some of them, offers like additional insight. So made for a really cool experience. It is one of the things that, if I had reason to come back to Miami, that I definitely would come back. And I like to hear oral history, oral stories. And so this is one of the stops that I would make to come back and get a history of the city, of the police force from the people that lived it. So disappointing in myself that, I kind of messed up with regards to timing. Really trying to, I think, cram a little bit too much in. I was supposed to come visit earlier in the week, but I just didn't realize how far apart Little Haiti and this area were. Um, and so I kind of underestimated the amount of time that it would take me to get from Little Haiti to down here. And then it's like by the time I got to the area, I also wanted to visit Little Havana to give there a look over. I didn't get to go back or to really walk the streets of Little Havana to see it. So there are a few different areas that I would like to come back to see again, and this is definitely one of them. I'd like to come back and spend some time and really get like the full experience. But even for about the half hour that I spent here, I still think it was worth the visit. Definitely worth checking out. So if you should happen to be in Miami and you want to do more than, like if you like to party and stuff like that, that's fine. But if you're looking for something beyond that, like some cultural stuff, some historical stuff to come and check out, I think this is definitely one of the spots that you should put on your list.
Part of what created a problem for me on this trip is I used Wanderlog to kind of organize how my days were going to go. I'd first used it for my trip to Japan, and I used it here, and I felt like between that and ChatGPT that they were very helpful with recommending things for me to do. Where the problem came in was that trying to find an accurate idea of how long it would take for some of these activities was actually pretty difficult. So, you go to Google Maps, it'll give you an overview of places you might want to visit, but it'll also give you like an estimate of how long people spend in places. So when I went to the Miami Museum 2 days before, it told me like, oh, you can walk through the museum in like 20 minutes. It's not the largest museum, but you're not getting through there in 20 minutes. Like you're going to need more time than that. And then add on to it that, I'm recording as I go along. So that adds some time. When I went to the police museum, that actually I was short on time, but it also took a little bit longer than I thought it would. So fortunately, the tour guide that walked me around the museum was very understanding, and he gave me like the condensed journey through the museum where it just took about a half hour. But as he explained that really, if like you get the full tour, it's more like an hour and a half. So I would recommend allowing yourself ample time to get the full experience. But I still enjoyed my time that I spent there at the museum. I thought it was interesting. I really did think that it was worth the trip. Just bear in mind that when you visit, they don't allow video recording, but you can take still images. So that was fine. I thought it was a really great experience. From there, I had to return the car to the car rental place. But, like one of the things is that like if you return it with the tank being less than full, then not only do you pay for gas, but like they kind of like they tax you on it, right? Like they gonna jerk you on it. So I didn't pay for like the extra gas package for them to like refill the car. Instead, I just gave myself some time. I stopped at the gas station on the way there and refilled the gas tank. Was certainly cutting it close on time, but I had to like there's some waterways there. And I put it in the GPS to get from the gas station to the car rental place. And while driving, there's like a bridge that you drive over. And what happened was I think there was like a boat or something like that passing. The place where you would typically cross over, you couldn't at that time. I kind of ignored Google Maps a little bit, figuring that it would reroute eventually, and just drove around. And with that, I was able to get to the car rental place on time. I was cutting it close to the time for getting to my flight. And, when I got to the car rental place, fortunately, I didn't have to go back into the counter and deal with all of that. I was able to drive into the lot, drop my keys, but then I had to wait for the shuttle. So moving forward, I think this is something that I would consider in the future, or I would keep in mind in the future, that to pay attention to whether or not the place I'm renting the car from, that it's on site there at the airport versus being like a little bit of a distance away. Because you imagine it's not as bad coming into town. It was a little bit inconvenient, but when trying to leave town, when trying to catch a flight, if you have to now stop at a different location to return the rental car, then to wait for a shuttle bus to take you to the airport terminal, that can add on additional time. Fortunately here, the car was very cheap to rent. But I think in the future, if there wasn't much of a difference with regards to the rental price, I would probably just go with someplace on site. But fortunately, things worked out well.
Back at the airport, I dropped off the car and taking the shuttle back to the airport, headed to the MIA mover so I can get to the terminal. I got a little bit delayed, but hoping to make it through security without any issues. So I'm gonna just hustle and hurry. All in all, it was a great trip, but now it's the final stretch just to get on the plane and get on home. So it turns out my flight is actually delayed, so that works out for me because I was kind of stressed, cutting it kind of close, but this is good. It's delayed by about 45 minutes. Hopefully it doesn't end up being much more than that. So to give me enough time to get through security, change out of my Miami clothes into my Atlanta winter clothes, and grab something to eat, get to the gate, sit down, relax. Here about to grab a quick bite. I had to lock the letter before I hop on the plane. Hassle to get. The gate got changed twice. The first change was from like gates right next to each other, which wasn't bad. Went to go get some food. Originally I wanted to get from Chef Creole, but turns out they're outside of security. And I didn't have enough time. So I went to this other place that I've been to before, La Ferret, which is like a Cuban place. Went there, got my stuff to go, went to the gate, got there in time. And I'm standing there and I look at the board and it's for a flight to Boston on Atlanta. When I looked at my phone, I realized that they changed the gate again. So this is now the third gate. And this gate, the gate was D48. Okay. When I looked at the phone, the flight was now leaving from D7, which is pretty much at the other end of the terminal. And it's like I've got my backpack with my camera gear, got my suit, my like little carry-on suitcase, I've got my coat with a jacket inside of it, and I've got my bag of food, and I'm there trying to hustle through the terminal to get to the gate. Fortunately, I made it on time, and it's like right as I got there, like I went to refill my water bottle, didn't happen. Right as I got there, I was like, right at the minute of when it would be 15 minutes before the flight was to take off, which is when they closed the gate, closed the doors, and right at that minute they changed the time again. So I was in the clear. I was so stressed and just running through the airport trying to make it. But fortunately I made it. Hopefully we have a safe flight, takes off, it's all good. So I've had food from this place before. And basically, it's like some roast pork, some plantain, and it's basically rice and peas, but it's like black.
Alright.
Well seasoned, but like the rice is a little bit hard. It could have steamed a little bit more. Plantain, you can't go wrong with that. Pork is good, and I'm actually glad that they didn't put like gravy or anything on it, because running through the airport with it, I was really worried that like it would spill and make a mess and whatnot. So this is perfect. In addition to this, I also got some dessert, which would be some bread pudding, and I got a pastry for in the morning, like little guava pastry. And I got something for my mom, which is she likes flan. I don't like it. I don't like the texture. And got her a guava and cheese pastry. So we'll see how those taste. But so far so good. The only thing is that it's not hot anymore, which isn't the end of the world. It's still good. So coming through in a pinch. Perfect.
You know that moment of joy when you board a plane, get to your seat, and there's no one next to you? A moment of sadness when I realized that the people sitting next to me were just running a little bit late. Seatmates ended up being some really nice kids, and it all worked out. One of the things that I love about traveling by ear is being able to see a city from a bird's eye view. They can be nice to view during both the day and the evening, but I think that they seem especially beautiful at night when you can see them all lit up. One of the reasons that when and if possible, I try to get a window seat. Fortunately, I did make it back to Atlanta. It was a safe flight, smooth flight, no issues. And this time around, it was a different plane, so I didn't have to check my bag. I was able to just get off of the plane, exit out of the airport, get on the train to my car, and I headed home. And with that, it ended up being a really, really great vacation. I took the chance on going. I'd gone back and forth, as I'd mentioned in the previous videos, but I was really grateful that I went. I enjoyed certainly meeting Anthony Joshua. The fight was okay, as I thought it would be. But just the experience of being in Miami, taking this, not, I guess, unexpected vacation turned out to be really great. I enjoyed the restaurants that I visited. I enjoyed the museums that I visited. It was a really, really great experience. And it really is, it points to the thing that I love about traveling, these unexpected experiences that you have. And also that maybe in the future I could be a little bit more flexible. Maybe, well, let me not lie to myself. That, there can also be joy in not having every detail planned out for vacations, that some serendipity and, playing things by ear can also lead to enjoyment. All in all, I had a really great experience and would certainly do it again. And not just that, but to be open-minded about the places that we visit, even places that we have not been to, but also places that we've previously visited, that we can go to places and look at them through open and also new eyes. I've been to Miami many times in the past. I wasn't really interested in visiting again, but just going into it with a different perspective and being open-minded allowed me to look at the city in a different way and ultimately enjoy my experience. So I hope you enjoyed these videos. Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, go ahead and click that thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.